Hi, I'm Sean McGowan. In this lesson, we're going to get acquainted with some basic jazz chord vocabulary that will get you started in building your own solo guitar arrangements, reading through chord charts, and comping for other soloists in an ensemble situation. The key to understanding how to play any chord, even complex chords like E major 9 sharp 11 for example, is to learn what the fundamental sound and structure are for whatever chord you'd like to build. You don't need to memorize a ton of chord fingerings without any understanding of the internal function of the notes. It's much better to understand how to build chords from the ground up. As we work through the following examples, we're going to learn how to come up with essential voicings for any chord symbol you're likely to encounter in a jazz tune, and also how to utilize each voice in the chord to create the sound that you want. Eventually, you'll use them to harmonize a melody, play on top of a bass line, and even comp for yourself while improvising a solo. This lesson can be found in my Fingerstyle Jazz Guitar Essentials lesson series, published by Acoustic Guitar and available at acousticguitar.com. Even if you're a little familiar with playing jazz music, then you're probably aware that chords commonly referred to as jazz chords often include a wider variety of notes than the chords found in most rock, blues, and other popular genres. A great way to start to understand these chords is to pare them down to compact three-note voicings, which we'll call guide tone voicings. These voicings are a great way to outline the essential harmony of a chord progression. Guide tones are simply the third and seventh notes of a chord, or sometimes the third and sixth if the chord is just a simple triad or a sixth chord. Guide tone voicings have long been popular with jazz musicians. Guitarists Grant Green and Jim Hall immediately come to mind with their comping and usage of guide tones. For this approach, let's imagine that the guitar strings are split into three distinct groups, each with its own unique role. The two lowest strings, the low E and the A string, will be reserved for playing just the root notes of our chords. The two guide tones will be played on the middle strings, the D and G strings, and finally, the high E and B strings will be reserved for chord extensions, notes like the 9th, 11th, and 13th, and later on, the melody in a full solo guitar arrangement. Let's call chords with the root on the 6th, the low E string, root 6 chords, and chords with the root on the 5th string, the A string, root 5 chords. That will give us two different options for each chord. Example 1 illustrates root 5 and root 6 voicings for guide tone C major 7th and C minor 7th chords. It's important to notice how the guide tones invert from one string to the other, depending on which string has the root. For example, a root 5 voicing places the third of the chord on the D string and the 7th on the G string, whereas a root 6 voicing is exactly the opposite. Here's example 1. C major 7, root 5. C major 7, root 6. So you'll notice that the two guide tones have actually flip-flopped. The third was here for the root 5 and the 7th on the G string, and now the 7th is on the D string and the third on the G string. And here's a root 5 C minor 7 and a root 6 C minor 7. The beautiful thing is that all of these voicings are movable and transposable, and they're very usable in their sound. Therefore, it's important to get acquainted with each of the different shapes in examples 2A and 2B. So here are some root 5 guide tone voicings. C major 7, C minor 7, C dominant 7, C6, C minor 6, and also C diminished 7, C minor 7 flat 5, and C minor major 7. Example 2B, their equivalents with a root 6 voicing. Here's C major 7, C minor 7, C dominant 7, C6, C minor 6, and also C fully diminished 7th, C minor 7 flat 5, and C minor major 7. Now let's apply some of these voicings using simple 2-5-1 progressions in the key of C. Example 3 shows a D minor 7, G7, C major 7 progression using simple guide tone voicings. Here's example 3. 1, 2, 3, and... 2, 3, and... Notice how little movement is required to move from each chord to the next. This creates a really smooth motion that ties each chord together nicely, and this concept is known as voice leading. Pay attention to where the third and seventh notes are in each voicing. You can also add some variation to the inner voices to create extra movement within your progression. In example 4, we're going to substitute the major third of a G7th with a fourth, creating a guide tone voicing for G7 sus4. We're also adding a C6 chord to the end of measure 2. Here's example 4. 1, 2, 3, and... Again, 3, 4. Example 5 shows another possibility, a minor major 7th chord moving to a minor 6th tonic chord.